So, you know how Zoom, we're all on Zoom, we're on Zoom now, has been the savior tool of 2020 for sure. Now, networking virtually is happening on Zoom. It's a great place. It's exciting, but it can also be frustrating at times. And with so much to do and so many network opportunities out there, you want to be choosy and savvy. So today I'm bringing you some experts from Women Speakers Association, some of our premier members. They're mavens who are in networking who recently attended a Women Speakers Association live event hosted for Canada, actually, all of our Canadian members. So I'd like to introduce you to them so they can tell you all about how to master networking online. Well, welcome, Sue.
Hey Laura, it's great to be here. My name is Sue Dumais. I'm a global impact visionary leader, healer, author, and minister. And you can find me at heartledliving.com.
Great to have you, Sue, and hi, Carrie.
Hi, Laura. It's wonderful to be here as well. My name's Carrie Gallant. I'm a leadership coach and negotiation strategist, and you can find me on gallantleader.com.
Wonderful. So I'm thrilled that both of you are here because I want the inside scoop about online networking for how your experience was. Are you a regular online networker? And what did you expect going into this Women Speakers Association event you recently attended? And Sue, why don't you address that first?
Sure, absolutely. I definitely have had an online business for a long time. So for me, online networking has been something I've done, just naturally have done. And the recent event with the WSA, the Women Speakers Association, I found that really, actually at a time where I was connecting with my clients online a lot, I wasn't connecting with a lot of different, speakers, and especially Canadian speakers and women. So that felt really great for me. It was like a good heart scrub to join with other Canadian women and support each other in our passion.
Yeah, speaking of support, that's one of the benefits of doing online networking is feeling like you're not alone in this world. And Carrie, would you agree? How was this your first online event, or are you a
Not
regular
at all.
networker?
Sorry, I totally agree with Sue as well that it was a great opportunity to meet other Canadian women, other Canadian women speakers as well. I find on in our online world we often don't know where people are coming from, and there's something in there nice to have when we have that kind of commonality. Prior to COVID, I did most of my speaking in person, and so when COVID hit, I lost a lot of my speaking engagements that were not transitioned to online. Some of them did, and now I'm lucky to be certified as a virtual speaker, so that's also awesome. And I find with the networking, same kind of thing. I used to do a lot more of my networking in person, unlike Sue. Even though some of my business was online, I was networking online with some groups where I was a part of, but I realize now there's so many of these groups that were meeting in person that are now transitioning to online, and it's a little bit different, and it really helps to fill that void of really missing that human companionship and sharing with other like-minded individuals. So I really loved attending the Canadian event. It was a great opportunity to meet other speakers.
Well, speaking of that's a little different, to do virtual networking. Um, Tell me a little bit, both of you, about the virtual networking space. What do you love about it, and how did you benefit from it? And Sue, do you want to take that?
Yeah, well, the thing I love about it is, like Carrie was saying, we're in a position right now where we can't really connect in person so much. So the in-person events are not really happening. And a lot of people are feeling, isolated or kind of pulled away from their networks or feeling disconnected. And I find that, I connect with a lot of people by phone. I do a lot of voice calls. I have an inner circle membership, so I'm on calls with them all the time. But the video is different for me. To see someone, to see their gestures, to make eye contact, especially in a time where we're feeling disconnected, I found to be really just a different experience. The challenges I have with the video for me is like, yeah, I have to get up out of bed, I have to like do something with my hair, maybe put on a different shirt. Whereas when I'm just doing phone calls and I don't have the video on, I do Zoom calls without the video sometimes, you can just be in your pajamas, and it doesn't matter if you got any makeup or your hair is all over the place, you still have bedhead. So that the thing that for me makes it worth getting up and combing your hair is the biggest thing is the eye contact and just seeing the expressions and feeling that connection on that level, because I do believe the eyes are the window to the soul, so it really makes a difference for me.
Yeah, there is something on, and Zoom has really become the place where people go on video. Before COVID, it was 50-50 whether you're going to be on video or not. But virtual networking is definitely a video place. And so, Carrie, maybe you can give us your take on, what was the benefit of attending a, virtual networking event?
Yeah, that's great question. I was so much in the Zoom world prior to everything going on. I work with my clients on Zoom a lot. So it's very familiar methodology for me to be in the Zoom environment. And what I found very valuable about the WSA networking event, because I also noticed this doesn't always happen in other online networking events, was I really appreciated the use of the breakout rooms, because that did was it helped almost to replicate the in-person networking environment. I miss that opportunity to meet new people and to get into conversations with them. At a live event, I'll often go up to somebody new I haven't met before, or I'll say, hey, can you introduce me to so-and-so, and have an opportunity to meet people in that kind of intimate as well as in this shared environment. And so I found that to be a really helpful way to continue that kind of conversation, to talk to other women that I hadn't necessarily met before, get to know them a bit better, and then I can always look to continue that conversation again outside that particular networking environment. The other thing I really appreciated in WSA is because we're all speakers already. We're already in some way accustomed to being in front of other people. And so whether or not we were going to be on camera or not wasn't really, I think, such a big deal, even though I know for many people it still is when they come to a Zoom environment. They're kind of a little trepidatious about coming on camera. Sue, as you said, I've got to get up and get my face on, or whatever we do to feel comfortable in front of a camera. That may be what kind of sets some of the different events off in a different way. That's what I really appreciated about the WSA networking.
Really great points about, hey, where else are you going to meet people these days? This is the place. It's online, and we have a great diverse group, not only what we're using diversity for now, but diverse in terms of what they do, right? Each of you do something completely different, and maybe you can share a little bit more about what you do and who you do it for, so that people can get a sense of the people. So Sue, why don't you share a little bit more about your work?
Absolutely. As a healer and as an intuitive coach, I help people get out of their head and into their heart. And I help them shift that consciousness to be able to lead with love, be love in action, and use their intuition for every decision, whether it's business or personal. It's every moment of every day. It's heart-led living, not just one area. It's all of life. So my passion is really about working with people. I have a global community I work with, but I actually also have an intuition academy, which is literally like step by step just to get you in that process of trusting your intuition. And that's a lot of what I do with networking as well, is I use intention and intuition. So whether it's an online networking event or in person, I will set an intention to, I'm open to meet the people that I'm meant to meet at this event, that I'm meant to have an impact with, or that are meant to impact my life. So I set that intention to begin with, and then I follow my intuition. So I watch for that cue. If I'm at an event and I'm walking in a direction, I follow the guidance, and I literally kind of land in front of people sometimes, and they're like, I was just coming to look for you. It's like a great synergy, right? And online, if I'm connecting with somebody, I trust my intuition. If I feel a connection with somebody, like Carrie was talking about, we had the breakout rooms. If I feel a real connection, a strong connection to somebody, I follow that nudge and I reach out to them after the event. And that has really created, for me, over the course of my career, the best connections, the deepest connections, because it's like they were meant to be.
Especially when you're clear with that intention. I love that. And you specialize in that. So Carrie, tell us about what you specialize in. Who do you work with and what do you do?
Oh, thank you for asking. I'm delighted to share. I work primarily with women leaders, and that's both in the corporate world as well as in their own businesses. And what I would do is I empower them. That's my primary goal, is to empower them to stand fully in their power, their strength, and their ability to have powerful conversations. Sometimes those are difficult conversations, or perceived difficult conversations, like a negotiation. And I find in my work with women a lot of times is we often confuse that we can only get a relationship result and not get the other kind of, we might call it the hardcore results, such as money or a promotion or a deal. We think we have to sacrifice one for the other. And so what I love to do is to show them that they can do both, that you can get those results through relationships. And I think that's what networking is all about too, right? Is we're wanting to build relationships. We all have results we want to get to in our lives. And really, how many things can we achieve without the cooperation of someone else? And so I think this idea of coming together in the virtual environment, or hopefully sometime soon in the in-person environment, to meet others is a way to find others that we might want to work together with. Even if we don't do a financial arrangement together, we can support each other. We can support each other as we are growing, and say, hey, I know that Sue does this kind of work. You should talk to her. This is something that sounds like it's really in her bailiwick. So we can do that kind of sharing. Or I know that Laura is amazing in the digital world. Why don't you go talk to her? I know that that's something that's up for you. So we can do this kind of cross-pollination and share, so that we're actually getting results and relationships together.
Oh, I love that. Results and relationships and resources, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's a good one. I like that one.
You just pointed to it, because you're like, you're not only meeting people for yourself, but for other people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. We could have titled this "How to Get More Results, Resources, and Relationships from Online Networking," right? That's great. Both of you are pointing to that, especially Sue. Your advice was to set an intention. Before you go to any meeting ever, in person, online, whatever, set that intention, because then that clarity of mind allows you to listen for, attract more of that, and I've had that experience. So let's go back to, making the most of the events. Is there any other piece of advice, or would you at least want to go back to do more networking, Sue?
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy networking, and I agree with Carrie in the way of connection is key. If the more we can create connections, especially right now, the more we can support each other as well as support ourselves. And for me, I think that's really what we're all hungry for at this point. So any opportunity to network, this opportunity, when you guys, when Gail and you, Laura, reached out to me to come on today's episode, I'm like, yep, I'm there. Let's do this, So anything I can do to either share my heart or share that knowledge and pay it forward is something that really speaks deeply in my heart. And then the connections, I keep going back to the connections, for me is important, I think, for all of us right now. And that it's that heart to heart connection. It's that authentic connection. And the one thing I do, I mentioned, I set an intention, I follow my intuition, but I also take inspired action only. So I don't follow up with everybody. I don't collect all the cards, and I don't follow and add people to my list. I take inspired action only. If I feel a nudge to reach out to somebody or to network with them or create a connection or collaboration, then I follow those breadcrumbs.
Great. Would you go back to a Women Speakers Association event?
I'm looking forward to the next one. Absolutely.
And why do you recommend somebody else come to an event, or at least join the Women Speakers Association?
Well, especially if you're a speaker or someone, even in the health profession, or you have kind of a business, you're an entrepreneur, and you just want to connect with other like-hearted women that are living more consciously, that are really heart-led, that are, inspired by leading with their passion, then that's what WSA is all about.
Yep, women helping women in expansion and connection. I love that. So Carrie, tell us about what advice might you have? Would you go back, and would you recommend joining?
Sorry, sorry, Laura. I would definitely recommend coming to a WSA event, a networking event, because it is, as as Sue says, it's an opportunity to connect with others. And by the way, if you're a speaker, don't you want to know where there's some potential speaking engagements or possibilities? I wonder where we might find those. That's what's rich in WSA. Everyone's always sharing on a weekly basis. There's a place for you to go and say, "Oh, I have a speaking event. I'm looking for speakers. Can you help me with that?" Or "I'm looking to speak. Can you help me find a place to speak?" This is all about us helping each other. We all have our own sets of knowledge. What happens when we share that all together? It's like the web expands. You go from this little piece of knowledge to having all these other women, all these other opportunities to find out more information. And I would definitely come back to another WSA event for all the reasons we talked about earlier. And what I would recommend to somebody who's thinking about coming is, like like Sue says, think about what you might want to come for. So what do you have going on in your life? Where do you need, again, that other word, resources? What are you looking for? What do you have to share? Right? What would you might want to share with the group? And maybe it's a resource that you have to offer someone in your own expertise, or you happen to know somebody who could help that person. So when we look to be helpful, we can also then be helped in return the area and be willing to share what it is you're looking for, of course. And I would also recommend is prepare a little bit about how you want to introduce yourself. Just like we did today, as we introduced ourselves, think about that small introduction that you can say about yourself that will help others know who you are and what you're all about.
Really powerful advice, both of you. Thank you, Carrie. And just so you know, those of you who are thinking of attending a Women's Speakers Association event, you can find them at WSALive.com. If you'd like more information about joining, go to joinwsa.com. Why? Because as a member right now, you can go to any of our virtual events and they don't cost you anything. So it's very advantageous because not only do you get all the benefits of Women's Speakers Association right now, we have tons of resources, training, tools like you were referring to earlier. You're a virtual certified speaker through the eSpeakers connection that we have for you. You get an eSpeaker profile and it's amazing. So the benefits of membership include networking. Like, wow. So we want you to be power networkers. Carrie and Sue, you gave some amazingly good power networking tips. Thank you so much. So we'll see you next week for our next edition of Women's Speakers Association's WSA TV Women Premiere Show. Thank you again, Sue and Carrie. Bye for now.
Thank you.